What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? You're back in the building with the man who started this team up originally. The living legend, Larry, has come through tonight. He is the first in my YouTube series called Power Talk, where I invite and discuss and talk not only the TV show Power, but the power it's taken these individuals to build their social media brands, whether it's IG, whether it's YouTube, whether it's any other platform. We're having Power Talks. This is my homeboy, the living legend, who hails from California by way of Washington, D.C., weighing in at 178 and a half quarter pounds. Today, I feel like Larry Dorch.
Man, that was a serious introduction right there.
Hey man,
I'm looking at this. It feels like old times right here.
You the first, man. You the first. You the first. You're gonna be the first on this train, last to leave off this train.
Yeah.
So we got to take it there. So Larry, let me let the people know what we're doing. We're gonna talk power, yes, but when I have these one-on-ones with my my guests, I think it's important to know what it is that they've seen in their walk of life that has gotten them to their social media present. And now I've got some stats for the living legend. Living legend has one video he did on his channel that gained 1.1 million views. Ladies and gentlemen, give you context. It's hard as hell to get 1 million views on YouTube. So having said that, Larry, you've accomplished something big time. What was it that got you into YouTube to this point?
Man, when I first started YouTube.
Oh, I forgot. When I do these, I got to go old school. Let me put on my +7 glasses of sexy as hell.
We haven't seen those in a minute.
Yeah. Working on skill in my craft, bringing you guys a more informed experience, and getting my Oprah on, the poor man's Oprah. Living legend. Go ahead and finish.
Man, yeah. I mean, it's when I started YouTube back in the day. Really, when I first started making videos, but even before YouTube, was I just had a website called TodayIFeelLike, and really it was when I first moved out here to the DC area, and I was just shooting videos of what I was doing every day to show my mom, and so I would just shoot some videos. I would just edit them, post them up, and they had to be real small back in the day because I had like a little GoDaddy site, and so they were like 360p or something, 480,
right?
And so then eventually what happened, I forgot what video it was, but I made a video that went viral, and back in the day, you had, on GoDaddy, they only gave you a certain allotment of bandwidth. And I just went way, way over that. And they called me up and said, hey, you have a video that's apparently gone viral and you need to move it off of the site over to somewhere else. And that was when actually the guy that worked there told me about YouTube. And so, that's how I kind of got started. I was lucky enough to have a video that went viral, and I moved it over there. And then after a while, it just, stuff took off. So, yeah.
Wow, man, that's amazing. But having said that, YouTube hasn't always been easy for you. I showed this graphic where you've reached 1 million views on your current channel. All right. Not only has he done that, ladies and gentlemen, but on a monthly basis, this brother is getting 344,000 views and growing each month, which is another huge milestone. Not to mention he's crossed 50,000 subscribers. Huge milestones.
Yeah.
What other barriers have you seen as a Black content creator that you might can warn other Black content creators who are watching us right now to help them kind of swim through the murky waters of YouTube?
Yeah, I will say, I mean, it's hard sometimes because you don't want to blame certain things on racism, but certain things,
right,
when you're a Black person, can't be ignored, and you're going to endure quite a bit of racism on the platform. I imagine it's a lot like being, in some respects, it's a lot like being a woman on the platform. You can create wonderful content, and a lot of people either just are not going to take you seriously because you are Black, or in some cases because you're a woman. And I work in the tech space. I see that a lot, where you have a lot of women that are in the tech space, and people will watch them because they think they're cute, but they often criticize them and say they don't know what they're talking about. I get that same thing. Because you're Black in the tech space, people don't think of you as someone who should be in that space. They don't view the tech space as a place where Black people should be. They think of it as primarily a white male space, and they often treat you that way. And I mean, at times I go into my comment sections and I get people that just drop the most heinous racist comments in the comments section for no reason. I mean, no reason at all. They just come in there and drop all kinds of N-bombs and call you all kinds of stuff and say you don't know what you're talking about. I get people coming in there, like I'll do a video on a camera lens, and somebody will come in there and drop something in about Trump or something. So, you know, as a Black content creator, you have to have a lot, like you do in life, and somewhat you have to have a little bit thicker skin. And some Black folks don't really venture outside of the Black community, so they don't ever really have to thicken their skin up. Sometimes people grow up around Black people, they only live around Black people, they work around Black people, and so they don't necessarily need to have a thick skin. And if you go out and you venture out into the social media sphere and you start doing YouTube videos or TikTok or something else, where now all of a sudden your audience is much broader, you're going to have to get a thick skin and quick. So, you know, that's one of those challenges that gets you. Plus, even dealing with YouTube treats Black creators very, very differently. You know, things that are okay for other creators to do are not okay for us. And I have seen that. Like I do some cord cutting videos, and I only do legal cord cutting videos. I don't do anything that has to do with pirated content or bootleg apps or sideload. I don't do any of that stuff. All I do is legal apps that you can download and access right from the iOS or Play Store or Amazon store. And still my videos get taken down, where I see, you know, white content creators can do those apps, and they can do all the bootleg and pirated apps and get millions and millions of views, and YouTube leaves them alone. So, you know,
it's been crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's challenging. You know, you and I have had these conversations privately for years and years, and it's challenging, it's frustrating, because it almost feels like YouTube really wants to box you in. It's almost like they're saying, nigga, stay in your lane, you know? Because I mean, not to say, I'm not saying anything bad about Power. Power is a interesting show that has put a lot of Black people to work. Black people are very interested in it. But before you started doing these Power videos, your channel had stalled out for a while because YouTube simply would not promote your videos. It was almost like when you started doing Black content, then they finally said, okay, there you go. You found your lane. Now go for it. We you know, it was like every other thing that you were trying, whether it was financial or comics or politics, whatever. They were basically like they smack you down as a Black creator and say, nah, that's not for you. And then once you start doing Black stuff, then they say, okay, now finally you're getting it. Now go ahead. And that's not me. I mean, I don't think that I do tech. I don't think tech is a space that belongs to any one particular group. I think tech is for everyone. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Let me shout out the people that have come to see the brother.
My audio blinked out on me again. There you go.
Oh, I can hear you. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me shout out the wonderful people that have come to see the living legend. Right now, Larry, we've got 150 people tuning in. Please give us 150 likes. If you've never seen Larry, this is Larry. Today, I feel like his link is in the description. He's telling you about his channel. Please subscribe. Elizabeth has come to see us. Rashonda, Tim, Mark, Mandy, Mystique Forever. SS Chicago, Ron, Alex, Tim, my brother, Eric, Sierra Forever. Just the whole crew has tuned out to see Larry. And we will get to the power talk in just a second. We're getting to know more of the insight of this particular YouTuber. Now, if Larry hasn't been clear in what he does, take a look at one of his videos he did that I found rather intriguing, because this man, he reviews tech, but did you know clothing can be tech too? Let's take a look.
Today, we are going to check out the Aviator Air Dry Merino Wool Hoodie. And if you've watched my channel before, you have probably seen me rock all kinds of hoodies because, well, I love a good hoodie. This is supposed to be a fantastic one. So let's unpackage it. I'm going to try it on, see how it feels, how it fits, and here we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the dude do it all on his channel. But Larry, what made you decide to go into tech? Do you have a background in tech, a background in reviewing? What led you to go down the road of tech, considering you knew some of these barriers you would see facing the growth of this genre? What led you down the tech road?
Yeah, man, I've just always loved tech. I've always loved gadgets. And, I've been a photographer and a filmmaker I've been a photographer for pretty much all of my professional life and a filmmaker for like the last 15 years or something like that. And, I've just always been into tech and knowing about the latest stuff with cameras and cell phones and audio stuff. And so, it was interesting. Some years back, I was working for a nonprofit where I was just really unhappy, and I ended up leaving that job, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And my wife was like, "Hey, maybe you should put yourself up on TaskRabbit and see about becoming like a tech consultant. You can tell, people can come over and you can go over to people's house and help them set up like their home stereo systems or their home entertainment systems." And I thought, okay, that could be kind of cool. That could be something doable. But it just, for me, something about that, just trying to put myself out there to go over to people's houses and design their systems just didn't work for me. And so I decided I'm going to go ahead and try this whole YouTube thing. I was like, I'll just start doing tech reviews. I already had a lot of stuff. I already bought gadgets and I had all kinds of camera equipment. I was like, I'm just going to start reviewing the stuff that I already had. And so I did. And then, and then I saw my channel start to sort of grow and pick up, and I wasn't really paying attention to the analytics. I was just making videos and just going. And then when I got about 8,000, 9,000 subscribers or something like that, this was way back. I remember reading somewhere online when I was asking how to get free tech to review, and people were saying, "Oh, once you have about 10,000 subscribers, you can start to get stuff." And so I said, I'm close enough. I'm going to start asking. So I started asking for both the little stuff and the big stuff, and stuff started coming in. And once stuff started coming in, the views just started going and going and going and going and going. And the funny thing is once a couple of companies trust you to do a review and you put out good content, other companies see that and they just start sending you stuff. And so it sort of just snowballed and just kept going and going and getting bigger and bigger. And so, luckily right now I'm in a position where I don't really have to ask for a lot of stuff to review. I mean, this particular items that I want to review, I'll still reach out to companies, but luckily enough now I get more requests to review stuff than I can actually do. So.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah. You do. And ladies and gentlemen, he also does wine and winners. So a lot of that tech that he gets, you follow this man when he goes live on Saturday night, you can get some of that tech for free. And so
you can, because I have tons of it, and I'm about to do another one because I have boxes of stuff I need to give away. So if you're interested, come through. I think I'm doing this actually probably this Saturday night. I'm thinking maybe like 7, 8 o'clock. So make sure you come through.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. Shout out to the big homie, Eric Iverson, Allen Iverson's cousin. Hey, y'all. Yo, Larry. So I ran into Jalen Barron from the Star Show Blind Spotting at the Vegas Strip. Found out she's from my city. And for that super chat, I got a new one I'm going to give to you. It has no sound. It's just going to make your jaw drop. If you got questions about it, we can talk about it, but thank you for that super chat. Here's your reward.
What kind of gem is that?
Hey, man, that's the old white man. That's the gym Simon Stearns goes to from Power, where they just let the white men walk around naked and shit in their underwear, hopping around on boxes.
What was that dude just bouncing on that box?
Look.
What is that?
Larry, he's trying to figure out how to crack a nut with his butt. That's what he's working on.
That's what it is. That is what it is, man. Right there.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm almost on the off ramp of giving you guys more insight into this man known as Larry. But let me give you guys a few reminders. When I'm done with this series on YouTube, after I'm done every night with it, it goes on the podcast, which you can guys go download anywhere you get your podcast, to the Life Gains podcast. And if you have friends who are trying to build social media and they're doing YouTube, IG, Instagram, whatever they're doing, and they've got at least 3,000 is going to be my cutoff, and they want to grow, tell them to come sit with me and we'll try to help promote them and grow them. Anybody is available, but I really would like to focus on my minority and my women. Not saying I'm not working with everybody else, because I am. But like me and Larry said, there are some specific barriers to women and minorities that can be very, very tough. And here I'm trying to keep everybody motivated and get you guys, the subscribers, different interesting people to learn from, chat with, and watch. And last piece of information, me and Mark Dart have moved our live stream to February 1st at noon. You don't want to miss this collab. You're going to be talking about clapping cheeks and panty draws and all other things Power. Come on February 1st at noon. So Big Larry, I got this for you, my man. What advice would you give someone who's trying to grow on YouTube that is a Black content creator? What would you tell them? Because it can be a very daunting task in the very beginning. Because you work your ass off for these videos. You do the content, you do the editing, you have to make the thumbnail, you basically got to write a paragraph to put underneath it, then you got to tag it. It's a lot of stuff. You do all that. You might spend 2 hours on a video, load it, and then you only get 100 views. So Larry, what would be your advice to up and coming YouTubers on growth?
I would say the biggest thing I would tell anybody is to make sure that you just keep on going, just stay consistent and keep going. Because and I guess one thing I would really like, if I have to give one piece of advice, is look at your overall numbers. Try and focus on your overall numbers and not on the numbers of just individual videos, because you can. But what happens is that sometimes, and this, don't get me wrong, the analytics are very, very important. And you do need to look at the individual videos and those numbers and find out what's working, what's not working, and figure out how you can make some changes to grow your channel. But don't just focus on the individual numbers, because sometimes the individual numbers will be very, very discouraging. You know, just like Lamont was saying, if you spend hours on a video, and, you know, sometimes I spend hours, sometimes it'll be, you know, days if I'm working on a product review and I'm using the product and trying to learn the ins and outs of it, or I'm going off and shooting something here and there. It could take hours, or it could take days, and then I go and I spend, you know, hours editing, and then I go and, like you said, you get 100, 200 views. If you focus on that, it could be very, very discouraging, where you're just like, man, I should get way more views, at least for the amount of time I spent on this. But if you start to look at the overall, you know, the overall metrics of your channel, and you say, okay, you know what, it's not, this video is not doing well, that video is not doing well, I spent all this time. But then when you look at the overall metrics, you're saying, okay, I'm still growing by, you know, maybe 1,400 subscribers a month, or I'm growing at this time at that rate for a couple of months, and then it spikes up to 2,000-3,000 subscribers a month, and I just hit 50,000, or I'm still making this amount of money every month. So all in all, the channel's still healthy and doing fine. And that's where you kind of have to focus on, because sometimes, you know, sometimes the numbers just aren't going to be there for particular videos. And that's another thing. YouTube is like, the algorithm people are always trying to figure out the algorithm, but one thing the algorithm does not seem to like is for people to stray outside the lane that they think they should be in. And for me, I'm a general tech channel. I do all kinds of tech, but I also do these tutorials. In the past, I've done these tutorials for cord cutting stuff. I don't do that quite as much as I used to. I do some of them for big stuff, like how to watch the Super Bowl. Like I've started doing like this once a year. I made maybe twice a year. I'll do like the top 10 apps for Apple TV or Fire Stick or something. But those videos have a tendency to do really well. And then everything else that's not those videos, it seems like YouTube wants to sort of shove them aside and say, this doesn't seem to fit your channel, so we're not going to promote it. So what I would say is do what you want to do and keep on doing it. And don't stop if the numbers aren't great. Focus. If the numbers aren't great on those particular videos, but those are the things you want to do, keep doing them, but focus on the overall growth of your channel. Now, if you start seeing your channel stall out or go backwards, then you may have to make some changes to correct that. But if you're still growing, just focus on that and not individual videos.
Man, powerful living legend. That's why they call you the living legend. And last thing, we'll get Larry out of here so that we can move on to talk Power Talk, his TV love, his things that he do with his TV, his reviewing, the stuff we used to do. Larry, what is it about your tech channel that makes you different from the other tech channels? Why, if I'm in a room with 10 other tech reviewers, why should I pick your tech channel?
Well, like I said, my tech channel is I like to think of myself as a general tech sort of guru, whereas a lot of people are very, very niche. And I understand why, because on YouTube likes stuff that's very niche. They like people who are only do camera reviews, or people who only do cell phone reviews, or people who only do, headphone or earphone reviews, or people only review cars. And I review everything. I review cameras. I review lenses. I review earphones. I review microphones. I review, smart devices. I review, remote control cars. I review drones, hoodies sometimes, I review all kinds of stuff. And that's what I find interesting, because I use a lot of the stuff. Like oftentimes the stuff that I review is stuff that I would use in my everyday life, either it's just outside of YouTube or while I'm producing the videos. And so I like to get things that I could use and tell people, okay, this is going to work great for you, or maybe this won't, or this doesn't work for me, but it could work for you. Sometimes I want to review things just for fun. Like when I reviewed a little remote control 4x4 truck. Things like that are just fun. And YouTube doesn't always want you to do that, because it doesn't always seem to work for the way they think it should work for your channel. But it's what I wanted to do, and it seems fun, and so I enjoy doing those types of reviews. And so,
Gotcha. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard this man. You've heard everything he has to offer, why he's different, what his mission of his channel is. He's a tech reviewer of general tech. He's giving you guys the advice, if you're in social media, stay consistent and do what you love. And now, Larry, go ahead.
I just want to ask one more. I just want to add one more thing, because I've had a number of people reach out to me recently asking, like, hey, how do you get free products? How are you getting all this stuff? Because I do my weekly haul videos every week. I usually do them at the beginning of the week or end of the week, depending on when I get my products. And so I get a lot of people have started to ask me, hey, how are you getting all this stuff? How do I get started doing product reviews? And one thing that I would want to mention to you, because I had a guy yesterday who reached out to me, and he hadn't started doing anything yet, and he's asking about how he can get free products. And so what I would tell people is, before you start reaching out to companies to get free products to review the stuff that you already have, and start with that. Because if you want to get into this space, there's a lot of need for reviewers. As much as I always think, like, man, isn't there other people you want to send this stuff to? Can I get a lot of people? But there's a need for people to, both big and small, big, medium, and small. I guess at this point, I'm sort of a medium-sized channel, But if you start doing, like, if you already have a cell phone, review your cell phone. Just do an overall review of it, and then do a review of the cameras, and then do a review of some apps. Review that stuff. And if you have something else like an action camera, review your action camera. You know, if you're on YouTube and you're editing your videos on a computer, review your computer. Just start off editing everything that's around you that you already have, partly because you already know it. It's, you know what you're going to like and what you're not going to like, which is going to make it easy on you. And then from there, you have something that you can show to the companies when you write them and say, hey, can I get this, you know, this camera or this lens, or can I get this speaker system, or can I get this TV or computer monitor, or whatever it is that you're thinking about reviewing. Then you have something to show them, so they know that you're just not some, you know, just some schmo out there trying to jack them for free stuff, and then you never actually make a review. They need to see that you're actually doing this for real. So,
right. And also it gives them time to, as you're trying to get your system in place, you can build your craft. You can learn how to get everything set up the way you want it. Good tips, Larry. And I got one question for you. Okay. Where is it? Robert Crosby wants to know, what's a good VPN?
What's a good VPN? Now that depends on what you want your VPN for, but I use 3 VPNs. I use IPVanish, I use ExpressVPN, and I use iVacy. And right now, I would say my favorite VPN is probably ExpressVPN if I'm trying to get around geo-blocking. And so what I mean by that is, if I'm trying to watch, say, TV for, like, if I'm trying to watch like the BBC iPlayer or something, or for people who are overseas and they're trying to watch the US Netflix catalog because it has a bigger catalog than some, let's say if you're in South Africa or Portugal or something. So you're trying to watch the US Netflix catalog. I would use something like ExpressVPN, because I've been able to use ExpressVPN, and these streaming companies don't seem to recognize that I'm behind a VPN. I'm actually able to use it. When I've tried IPVanish, I'm trying to do that, it often recognizes that I'm behind a VPN and it blocks me. And I think that's because IPVanish is so big that these companies have logged a lot of their IP addresses. So for geo-blocking and trying to get around geo-blocking, I would use like ExpressVPN or iVacy. I've had good luck with both of those. But if you're just trying to use it for protection, if you're out, you know, let's say you go to school and you're on your school's public Wi-Fi network, or if you're at a coffee shop or in the airport, I would use IPVanish, because they have the most servers out there. Their connection speeds are really fast. Not that the other ones aren't, but I've found that IPVanish has the most expansive network of servers out there. So if you're looking for that, I would go with IPVanish. But if you're looking for something specific, like getting around geo-blocking, I would go with ExpressVPN.
Outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move toward power. But before we do that, Larry, I just want to say thank you for having my back. Thank you for being the very first person in my series on YouTube and my podcast, Empower Talks. I'm very grateful. And we have to give you the Hollywood clap. Appreciate you, my brother. Now, big brother Larry, let's talk some power. Episode 7. Before we get into what's going on this week, Larry, tell me how you felt about the last episode. What did you like? What didn't you like? And let's do it, brother. Talk to me about power.
You know, I've actually pretty much enjoyed this season. I thought it was, so far, it's been a lot of fun. I think Effie's a snitch. I'm not sure what's going on with her, but I don't trust Effie right now, you know? I don't trust her right now.
You're going to hate some of the stuff I done found this week, Larry. You're going to hate it. It's just going to feed your fire.
And I feel like the, man, with the exception, I know this is going to sound bad because I know it's going to sound like I'm dogging the women, but I really feel like, with the exception of Diana, I feel like all the other women are making really, really dumb decisions. Like, just really bad. And I guess I shouldn't say that, because everybody in the show is making really bad decisions, but I feel like Monet's just running straight off of emotion, and she's not thinking through stuff as well as I feel like she used to. I feel like Effie's a snitch, and she's going to mess around and get herself killed, because, I mean, anybody who's going to kill their own daddy, there is no one that's safe in his sphere. No one.
Right.
Absolutely no one. And so you can run around and think that you're safe, but the dude's a murderer. I mean, how many people has this dude killed so far? You know?
Let me say,
how many people have died around him?
Ray, he didn't deliberately do it, but he's responsible for Kanan dying. He didn't deliberately do it, but he's kind of tied to his own sister dying, even though he ain't pulled the trigger. It was his situation that preempted it. His daddy, Professor Plagiarism, Jabari. And who else? Seems like he got somebody else up in this piece. That's all I can think of for right now. But definitely, like you said, the crown jewel of all that in a negative light is the daddy. Yeah.
So I mean, Lauren, I feel bad for Lauren in some respects because Lauren is, I feel bad, but then I don't feel bad because she's up there. Okay. She's dating this dude. Girls often in college, they want the little bad boy. She's thinking of him. She's thinking of him. So is a little bad boy. He's here. He's smart. He's rich, but he's also sort of a bad boy. Yada yada. And now she's finding out what the consequences are of being with someone like that. And she's got herself mixed up in this. And as much as Tariq may or may not like her, Tariq will take her out in a heartbeat. He doesn't really like her that doggone much because we see how quickly he was. Soon as he so-called was done with her, what was it? A day, 2 days? He's already laid up with with Effie. And then right after that, he's laid up with Diana, you know?
Well, I mean, Larry, he was going through emotional problems. And he went to jail. Nobody came to see him. He wanted Lauren to come see him. She ain't show up. But Effie showed up, Johnny on the spot, which goes to further buffer your point about not trusting her. She just happens to pop up the minute he get out of jail, says a little voodoo magic in his ear. Next thing you know, they in there laying on top of Pat Leather having sex.
She's asking way too many questions. Everybody's asking Tariq way too many questions, and he's just so freely giving information. I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, if I just killed somebody or ever killed anybody and somebody comes around asking me about it, my question is, why are you asking me these questions? You know?
Right. I mean, but Larry, I know we're saying Lauren making bad decisions, but it's hard. I can't look at her from the object of, I see her, she's so fine, I want to get with her. I can't look at her like that because I've watched her grow up. Did you understand what I'm saying? I've seen her as a kid. So, but Larry, my God, that ain't a beautiful piece of God's creation, I don't know what is, man. But even having said that, I can look at her with beauty, but not want to sleep with her because I've seen where she's come from. So like that doesn't even do nothing. But you can admit this is a gorgeous woman.
She is beautiful. She is, and this is the thing that gets me is that she's beautiful. She's educated. She comes from a good family, and she would, realistically will likely have the pick of the litter when it comes to good men. And so she doesn't need to be with someone who is not going to be a good man for her. And I think at some, like maybe that dude that the dude that she used to date that was at that dinner, maybe he's not the right dude for her.
Mushmouth Malcolm.
Right. But you know what? This is the thing. He may not be the right guy for her right there, but after she deals with all this Tariq BS, she's gonna look back on that dude and say, you know what, that's the type of dude that's gonna be able to provide me the type of life that I want, a guy that's gonna make all the money that he can make and have a nice life without all of the murder and the drama and everything, because it makes no sense. Like, why do you want to like Tariq, why do you want all of this craziness in your life when all you have to do is for 4 years go to school? Like imagine all the stuff that he's currently doing. Imagine how less complicated it is for him to go to school and get good grades if he simply stops doing that. If he simply says, I'm going to school for the next 4 years, and then when I'm done, guess what? I'm a multi-millionaire. As soon as I cross that stage and get my diploma, I'm a millionaire. I'm a multi-millionaire. My dad left me all this money, and that's all I have to do is go to school. Braden, same deal. Braden, no matter what, unless Braden kills some well-connected white person on TV in the middle of the garden, I mean, he's
Which
gonna
he
be all
might.
right. His dad's gonna get him off. So
Right. So
he's running
Larry,
around playing gangster because there's no real consequences.
Of course, Larry, we've got to talk about my old TV wife that I had to cut loose, and that's why her ass is spiraling down to hell. Professor Addiction. Larry, my brother Larry. And by the way, we've got 250 people tuned in to us. Can we get 250 likes on a Thursday night? If you haven't subscribed to Larry's channel, his link is in description. This is my number one roadie, the living legend. He's here to do some power. And next month, ladies and gentlemen, Larry is going to be a regular on just about every Thursday night. You know why? Because we're going to be reviewing Snowfall, and we are still putting together members of the crew. We might have a rotating crew. We might have one mainstay, but it's going to be the anchor of that crew. It's going to be me and the living legend. Be sure to tune in next month when Snowfall comes back on. But living legend, do you understand why I had to cut this bird loose? Do you understand why everything in her life is in tatters? Because she ain't do right by me. I had to let her go, and now her ass is acting like a chicken with his head cut off. Just bop, 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 bop everywhere. What's up, Larry? Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Man, it was like her downfall was just so quick and tragic. It's just like, man, she is just like a cautionary tale in bad decision making. It's like, you're beautiful, you're smart, you could go out there and find any guy you want, and instead you decide you want to hook up with a student, a high profile student that you can never be with. Like, you just can't, even if he left and went to the league and you hooked up with them, even at that point, people are going to say, so when did this get started? Were you sleeping with a student? And then she would be under the same scrutiny, even if they went public with their relationship after he left school. There was no upside for her being with Zeke. And
wow.
I mean, there's just so many dudes she could have been with that would have been happy to be with her, or she could have just been with how many ever dudes. She could have gone out there and ran around with her Sex and the City fantasy and just been like, I'm gonna just choose to be with whoever I want to be with tonight, as long as they're not a student,
Right.
But I don't understand. I don't understand how any of this stuff is gonna hold up in court when you have everyone that's sleeping with everybody. You have what's his name? We have defense attorney Meth.
Meth
we
McClain.
have Meth McClain. We have Professor Milgram, who's been slept with like 4 people within that little circle of murder there.
Not only that, but the rumor on the street is, Larry, Meth McClain has penetrated her fortress too, if you know what I mean.
Right. We have what's his name? We have what's the white dude's name that works for Meth McClain now again?
Cooper punk ass Sachs.
Right. Sachs has slept with what? With the prosecutor? He's working on the defense.
He's sleeping with Jenny, aka the bitch, for what she did to Jazz. I'm not going to get over that.
I mean, we have all these people that are just sleeping with everybody. I just can't imagine that if any of this came up, that somebody on appeal would say, look, there's too much stuff going on here. I can't even imagine a judge, if somebody brought this up to the judge, that the judge would say, I don't know what's happening here with your guys' little sexcapades, but your clients are not going to pay the price for all of your guys' ill will because who's angry at who for breaking up or sleeping with who. I'm dropping this. I'm tossing it. So
wow. Boy, ladies and gentlemen, just thinking about all the things that's going to have to go down in episode 8 that also include Professor Addiction. Larry, make my nipple itch. Hey, just make my nipple itch, all this mess going on. My goodness, man. But
I'll tell you one thing I want to add. I was going to say one thing that makes me really, that like when I watched this last episode, one thing that I looked and I said, oh, this is going to be a problem is when what's his name? When Lorenzo, Tejada, when he doesn't realize it, but he's up there talking about he doesn't want to eat off another man, and now he's going to find out not only eating off of another man, he's eating off of another man who slept with his current. Well, I don't think she was his wife at the time, but slept with his wife and had a baby by her, and now he's basically working for that man.
Not only that, like he said, he don't want to eat off another man, but he eating off another man that ate off his wife.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Larry, let me tell you something people try to put me in the timeout box for. All right. Let me tell you something they tried to put me in the timeout box for.
Can't put baby in a box.
I'm gonna paint you a scenario, Larry. I'm gonna paint you a scenario. Act like I'm Picasso. All right. Check this out, Larry. You've been married how many years? About 20 years, right?
Well, 15, 20,
15
17?
years. 15 years. All right.
Yeah.
All right. If you was to find out tomorrow that within the last week, your wife has gone on a date with a dude who's pursuing her, who bought out $1 million restaurant. He took her ass on a helicopter ride to fly around the city and then gets a kiss in the helicopter. And then they leave the helicopter. He's trying to get her to come to the crib. She says she can't come to the crib, but she'll get back with you. She got to go handle some business. Would you not consider that somewhat of a cheaterous act, Larry?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So here's the issue, Larry.
And let's not forget Mecca's super balling. Because when we first met Mecca, in this series, when we saw Kane and him at the airport, they were in a private hangar with a private jet with all those fancy cars around him. And Kane went and looked at that dope that was sitting in the side of a private jet. This dude is beyond balling, Right.
He's balling. He's balling. So I made a comment that Monet's character is trash. She cheated. And I'm still upset with her for not telling her son that she's really her mother. Larry, do you know people came for me and tried to say I was disrespecting a black woman, that she didn't cheat? And I said, so you will be okay if your wife got in a helicopter with a dude pursuing her and kissed her in the helicopter, didn't tell you nothing?
Wait. So, they try to say that she didn't cheat. Wait a minute. Did they just wholly forget that she was straight boning that cop that Kane put down?
The cop don't count because Lorenzo knew about the cop. So he don't count. But Lorenzo don't know nothing about Mecca. Mecca is totally a secret. Totally a secret. But anyway, Larry, along with all this stuff that came out, there was some trailers that came out, Larry, and your boy been on them. Shout out to every single one of you guys that has joined me on Instagram and be sending me all this news information so that I can put out videos. Be sure to go check it out. My link is in the description. You can follow me, become a Life Gains member of the Instagram clan. Larry, I got a clip for you that gives you some clues into what's going to happen this coming weekend. Take a look at this. Larry, that's home invasion music. You heard that music in the background? That is. Damn,
what did he do? What do you do? Feed Mecca some bad sushi or something? He got on his bad side real quick.
So Larry, what do you think is happening? I will break it down for you what I think is happening, but I want to hear what you got to say about that. Home invasion music. It looks like we might be seeing the demise of Mecca and his killer Avengers right as we speak.
Yeah, it did. It did seem like there was something that was about to go down with there. But this is a tricky part. It's like, who wants to go after Mecca though? I mean, if it's Tejada, what would be his end game if he goes after Mecca? He kills the Connect. He no longer has a Connect. He doesn't know who Tejada's Connect is, and it seems to me the way his this dude's rolling, he's probably getting his product wholesale directly from the cartels.
Larry, do you see those weapons that he's got Kane back there cleaning?
I do.
and Larry, did you see the metallic and platinum gun that Chef Assassin was about to pull out the closet?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, well, let me replay it for you, my brother. I want you, when he opens that closet, take a good look. So first of all,
I did see that scrap that time.
if this dude's supposed to be a big boss, why he ain't got no damn battery backup or some generator that clicks in automatically, something like that? But I digress. So, Larry, this is what I think is happening. In the trailer for this week, we saw Kane meet up with Tariq. And there's this picture right here of Tariq coming up the elevator. This is Mecca's house, right? But prior, and look at that damn choker Michael Jackson shirt Tariq got on. I mean, just choking the hell out of the little brother. I mean,
he looked like Baby Shaft.
Yeah, man. Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. But Larry, I think Tariq and Kane is setting up Mecca, because we also see Tariq right here, which looks to be one of the areas of Mecca's operation, like the hangar where he's got all his jets and his drugs and all that. That's Tariq with that damn choker outfit on again, looking like a Jackson 3. It looks like him and Kane are setting up Mecca, and it wouldn't even surprise me if Kane shot Mecca right in the back of the head, and Tariq is coming up the elevator like, bro, what the hell you do that for? Look at the look on Tariq's face. What do you think, my brother, living legend?
Now, to me, here's still the problem that I have with this, is that if they take out Mecca, they're all dry. They have no connect after that. Nathan, the course correct is done. Tejada's whole street thing is done, because that's his connect right now. Now, I could see on one end, go ahead.
People had said that to me, and I had a hypothesis about that. What if they done made a deal with Chef Assassin behind Mecca's back, and he's got the same connects to wherever Mecca's getting his drugs from, but you just taking out the number one guy?
Now, that could be the case, because obviously Chef Assassin is trusted, because he even has his fingerprints loaded up in there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So he's definitely trusted. So, I mean, that's a possibility. And I could see where taking Mecca out, if they can pin some stuff onto Mecca, it would solve everybody's problems. Because right now the cops are coming for Tariq, they're coming for Kane. Monet's got her issues, because now she's trying to sit up there and say, I don't want you to meet Zeke, and yada yada yada. So if the three of them can figure out a way to take Mecca out and put everything on Mecca, the killing of Jabari, the killing of that cop, if they can put all that on Mecca and either have him locked up or have him killed in the process, that solves all their problems right there. The one problem is if they get the chef in there and the chef is taken over, then that solves all their problems, because they still have their dope connection. They get, Kane and Tariq are out of legal trouble. Monet doesn't have to worry about her baby daddy coming back. She may just have to, and she already halfway sort of convinced Zeke that this was just some dude that's coming out of the woodworks for money, because he announced he's probably going, he's likely going pro. So, and that stuff happens when people come out and say they're going pro, they win a lotto. All of a sudden people come out and say, look, we're family, I need some money, blah, blah, blah. So it's a possibility that the dude could be that, but it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if Zeke learns how Mecca's living, he's going to be like, this doesn't make any sense. I'd have to work 10 years in the NBA before I'm living like this dude's living, Yeah.
So let me give you some more insight, Larry. Courtney Kemp went live. She went live Tuesday. She specifically said a major character is going to die. And she also said, and I quote, "Don't have no water or anything in your mouth, because you're going to spit it across the floor." So I took one for the team, Larry. I took one for the team. And I warned all the fellas not to be letting their wife give them that good job in the middle of this show, because it might come flying out their mouth in the middle of the power. So the fellas, take my advice. Don't do that. Sit down with your sweetie pies, eat some pie and some cake, and enjoy the show. But don't do it. Don't do it at the very middle or end of this episode. So now we get into who's going to die. And Larry, it probably ain't going to be Mecca. He's not going to die. But there is one person who has a story that I would love to see play out, and that's Zeke. Because if he goes to the NBA, think of all the great stuff they can do with him being an NBA player. His mama and daddy is in the drug game, and they go into these parties, and let's just say they have the NBA All-Star game. He's so good, he make the NBA All-Star team, and he goes, they have, let's say it's in Atlanta or something like that. Can you imagine the parties and the things they could associate around Zeke's career with the Tejadas, the drama? But Larry, because I don't think that's going to happen, because I found some evidence, your boy Daniel Bellamy is dropping the album. Here it is, Odyssey. And he's got, what, 6 tracks on that joint, which makes me think, Larry, that this is it for Zeke. So you ain't got to waste no more time on that storyline. My brother Larry, what do you think?
Man.
Boy, man. Can you imagine the drugs and the thongs we would see if this boy go to the NBA, and then you could let Professor Addiction follow him from Tate's show, follow his NBA career, chasing down the thoughts. Can you imagine it? But it's not going to happen, Larry.
That would be something else. You know, I could see him getting taken out because he hasn't really, I mean, despite the fact that he's had a fair amount of screen time, I feel like he hasn't really had that much of a story this season. He's been tied in with other people. Like he's been tied in with Professor Megram, or he's been tied in with Monet, but he hasn't really had a story, you know? Like his story this season is kind of, I mean, they did the whole thing where, you know, he was looking at, you know, where he was getting in trouble, but all that was tied into somebody else. Wasn't something unique to him. Like, you know, like Diana has a story with her wanting to go to college and getting her daddy out of jail and now going up there and messing with Tariq. She has a story. Kane clearly has a story. Tariq has a story. Monet has a story. You know, his story is always real dependent on other people. And his story is really just sort of, he's always on the peripheral. So I could see him getting taken out. But to be perfectly honest, I think he's actually, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be Lorenzo.
So let me say this, Larry. Courtney Kemp has already said that Monet's sister, which I'm assuming is who's pretending to be his mama, is going to be coming next season. That could be because they're coming to his memorial because he didn't survive. And who knows what kind of life the auntie mama is living. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But let me shout out Elizabeth. $5 super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we do take super chats on this channel now. Don't be hasty. She says, Mecca is covert enough to already have a plan for Kane and Lorenzo. It would almost seem too easy and not practical. Appreciate that. And here's your super chat reward. If you like white people doing crazy stuff, I got another one for you.
Wow. This is...
You got to ask Jesus Christ.
I don't have to do anything.
We're all sinners.
Okay.
He's not going to force you to do it.
You're sinning right now.
No, I'm not, motherfucker. You fucking accuser. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking accuser. You motherfucking accuser. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
You motherfucking accuser.
Wow. Wow, dude just got all up in her head.
Oh man, Larry, they're coming through now. We got another from my family, Will Lawrence, my brother. Appreciate you, homie. Always here, faithful to me on IG, faithful to me here, faithful to my videos, grateful. I say Zeke will die, but if Carrie is getting replaced, most likely I see her getting killed too, or Lauren. I don't think Carrie is gonna die. I think she's going to Tate's story, but she is getting replaced. And Will Lawrence, I've got more.
They definitely set it up for her to go and work with Tate, because they had that nice little heart-to-heart there for a minute, and you know, and it was a good thing they did that, because they normally have Tate so slimy, like always in full slimy politician mode. It was good to actually see him just for a moment really have a genuine moment with somebody else, where he wasn't just trying to get something. He was just simply saying, I've been where you're at. I know what it's like, and you're not done yet. And they've even, I mean, I don't think she's dying, because they actually said it in there. Your story's not done yet. He actually said the words. So
he said it. So
she's not done yet. Somebody else mentioned that They don't think it's that. They don't think it's Mecca, that Mecca's already prepared, because Mecca literally sat up there and said, if you have to prepare for war once you've started the battle, you've already lost. So he already knows I have to go to war with them. And so I'm already prepared, you know?
Mm-hmm. But here's something he didn't prepare for. He ain't prepared for Tariq. That's the only thing he ain't prepared for.
Tariq is a wild Tariq.
No.
Tariq is like the Grim Reaper.
He is, man. Especially with that tight ass Michael Jackson coat he got on. But ladies and gentlemen, this is for Will Lawrence. If you like white people doing crazy stuff, I got another one for you. Thanks, Will Lawrence. This is for you.
Oh, piss off.
And he's gonna try and jump bad afterwards, like you're gonna make the dude behind the wheel flinch when you can, you know.
Oh, my goodness gracious!
That was so funny. That one was precious. It was so funny.
Definitely precious. And so, Larry, one more thing we'll discuss before I get you and the audience out of here, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do some power previews, make some final predictions. We're also going to talk a little Peacemaker and whatever the current news is going on tomorrow with Larry, possibly be Avery, but for sure one take Big Dog. So Larry, in the trailer, they made it feel as though Tariq wasn't going to have the money to get to trial with Davis McClain. Well, Larry, somehow or another, he got the money. And this is why I feel somehow or another he was able to infiltrate Mecca's compound. But here's something else that happened, Larry. Braden is working with Drew, Big Larry, and look who set this whole thing up. Yo, girl, Effie. Talk to me, Larry. Get us out of here on that, brother.
I just do not trust her. She's too damn slick. Effie's one of those chicks that she's smart as all hell. She's thinking ahead. I mean, Tariq should know from having gone to school with her and her getting him put up out of there that you cannot trust her. She is not to be trusted. And he's up there just, you know, she went ahead and gave up the cookies. And now I think he's feeling like, okay, I can trust her. I got her in. No, you don't. You need to watch her, because she will try. Not only will she try and screw you over, she will take over your whole operation and screw you over. She'll take course correct and franchise it over to her university and then take over both schools, you know? I mean, she's smart, but she's also, she's not to be trusted. I mean, if I was Tariq, I'd be planning on how I could use her and then dispose of her, because that's exactly what she's going to do to him if he doesn't do it to her first, you know?
Now, word on the street is everybody figured out that Courtney Kemp loved Tariq's character. That was one of her favorites. The new word on the street is Effie is one of her new favorite characters. So having said that, Larry, you know, you can easily see the spin they'll put around this character to keep this story going for at least 3-4 more seasons before they start sending people off to their business. And Effie is doing just enough that she can be so dangerous. She's sleeping with men. She's sleeping with girls. She is heartless. She's about herself. And on top of that, Larry, with all that, she got ice water in her veins. She is hot as shit. She is hot as shit in an 80-degree day in North Carolina, fresh from a dog. She is hot.
She is, and I don't think they're gonna get rid of her, because I mean, I think she is, and I've said this before, I think she is to Tariq what Tasha was to Ghost. And I think Lauren is to Tariq what Angie or Angela was to Ghost. And I think that those decisions have to be made. Like if he goes with Angie, you know, like Ghost didn't go with Angie. If he goes with Lauren, maybe he turns his life around and he becomes the guy that people think he could be. Like what's the other attorney's name? The one that just told him last time, "Don't call me again."
Right.
Her, she keeps advocating for him. He could be something better. He deserves a good chance. He can do something. But I think if he ends up with someone like Lauren, he can do something, you know. But if he ends up with someone like Effie, he's gonna go down the same route that his dad did, because she's basically like Tasha. She knows the game. She's smart. Ghost wouldn't have been who he is without Tasha, you know.
Exactly.
And
Ghost would
if
not have been what he was.
And if Braden's gonna run around being his Tommy, then, you know, I mean, he's gonna go down the exact same path as his dad. We see it happening. It looks like that's the way they're playing it out. The sort of the wild card in this is really, I think, is sort of Diana, because she sort of has a bit of both of those worlds in there, where she comes from a family that has a little bit of money, it being in the Tejadas, but they didn't get their money the legit way. But she still grew up with a bit of money, and she's beautiful, and she knows the game. So she's sort of a mix between Effie and Lauren, and probably in a good way, where she wants to go to school, she wants to do the right thing, she wants to be with Tariq. So she might be able to actually pull Tariq out of that and be able to speak to Tariq and say, hey man, you know where this life leads you. You know where it leads you. We can be out this piece. We can be out this piece and do something else somewhere else and be rich and not have to worry about watching our backs every night. So Diana might actually be the best one for him. I just don't know because I mean, he can't be with, I mean, if he's with Lauren, he has to get completely out of the game, because otherwise his whole marriage, his whole life would be a lie with her. And if he's with Effie, he's going to be just like his dad, you know?
But here's the thing, Larry. I made a mention that somebody's going to get pregnant from Reed. Reed has slapped cheeks with Lauren. Reed has slapped Pat Leather with Effie, and he got Diana last week. And since we're going to say that Lauren, man, she's smoking, is the oddball out, and we know Effie like girls and boys, why not these three just hook up and they give us the threesome that everybody is predicting is going to happen?
See, this is the thing. I think that Effie would be down for it with Diana.
Right.
I'm not sure Diana would be down for it, because I feel like Diana really is really into Tariq. Like really into
she
him.
is. She definitely is. She is.
I think that Effie, she may like Tariq, but I think she's motivated by other things, if not ahead of her feelings for Tariq, at least equal to. So if Tariq ever finds himself in the way of something Effie wants, Effie will get rid of Tariq to get to wherever she wants. And so I think Effie would be into it, because I think she may look at it like, I already like girls and she's hot, so why not? Plus, it's just another way to get in a little bit closer. She's going to be thinking all kinds. She's going to be thinking like she's playing 40 chess or something. And Diana, I don't know. She might do it because she just wants to be with Tariq so bad that if she felt like she had to do it to get with him, she might do it, just being a young and dumb person, because she's a kid. She's 18? She's a kid, you know?
She's very young. Yeah, man.
So
wow.
I don't know. But I still have problems with some of the storylines in here. Like, I still have a problem with the whole thing with Zeke and Kane being basically the same age. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Why don't make sense, Larry?
Zeke is only supposed to be a year older?
Something like that.
I mean, I guess unless she had this kid, and if she, I don't know, because she grew up in the neighborhood, and it seemed like Tejada grew up in the neighborhood too. I mean, if people are saying, oh, she had Zeke when she was 16, which means she had Kane when she was 17, which means she was still in the neighborhood. So if she was tell me how many people you know in the neighborhood get pregnant and then the baby's just gone and no one's talking about it, you know? Tejada's supposed to be like this dude that's running stuff, and he's not going to know what happened. He's not going to know that she was pregnant. Some of it just doesn't make any sense. It's not adding up.
Well, maybe what they're going to do, Larry, is they're going to make another backstory, and then we're going to get a whole new spinoff. Maybe that's what's going to happen. We'll see. But let me shout out this incredible audience. Larry, we got up to a max of 300 185 people at one point in time. If you haven't given this video a like, please take the time to give me a like so we can keep growing this channel and growing the individuals we touch, come across with. And again, for those of you that like Mark Dark and you like me, we're going to collab February 1st at noon. It's a Tuesday. I'm interested to see how many people are going to tune in for that. And as soon as I get done with this in about an hour, it will be on the Life Gains podcast, because I'm going to start this series, my people, where I'm interviewing people on social media that have followings, that do different things, that also like TV shows, including Power. So if you got friends, family building their social media and they watch TV, send them my way to try to help them grow their audience. We call it Power Talk. And I'm considering doing the same thing with you all, my audience, because you guys love these shows so much. Just trying to find more ways to keep you guys engaged, get your opinions and voices out there, and keep building this Life Games team that is growing worldwide. I got a subscriber in here from the UK, from Portugal, and Switzerland watching us right now. I don't even know what the hell time it is in them places. I just know the sun's shining over there or something. That's all I know. And so,
they're up late, because I think in Europe they're like 5 hours ahead.
Yeah, man. In closing, Big Larry, what do you want to say to the people as we get ready to get out here? We will be back tomorrow, preview Power, talk a little Peacemaker, the John Cena DC thing that's on HBO Max. Any closing words for the people, Larry?
Man, if you have not watched Peacemaker yet, definitely check it out. Don't watch it with the kids, but definitely check it out.
Larry,
it is not a show for kids.
You seen episode 4 already?
I've seen episode 4, yeah.
Damn it.
Check out Peacemaker. I'm assuming if you check out Peacemaker, you also have HBO Max. So check out, once you do that, check out Injustice. That is dope. Oh,
Larry, you talk all that junk about DC. Larry, wait a minute, wrong way. Look at that. It never comes off the wall.
I see it.
It never comes off the wall. It's always back there.
Why can't they make the live action movies this good?
Larry, do you remember we did the trailer review for Injustice? And I told you, I remember distinctly saying this is going to be the best one they've done in 5 years. I remember it. Even B. Avery mentioned it in our group chat. I told you.
So
and
good.
You remember I said if they don't have to go completely by the video game, but stick close to it. And Larry, that's exactly what they did.
It is so good too.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to spoil it for you because I might review it if I can squeeze in the time, but let's just say DC went into the multiverse in Injustice. But if you played the video game, you already knew about that. But if you didn't and you want to see, if you want to see what happens in the DC multiverse, check out Injustice DC animated. It is dark, it is graphic, it is nuts. Superman is unhinged, and they got to find a way to beat his great American ass. And I sometimes wish he was Sean Hannity, but they found a way, ladies and gentlemen. You got to check that out. So, having said that, people, we're out of here. Till that next Sex is Hell video, I'll see you. Check out the podcast. Subscribe to Larry. Give us a like. Come back tomorrow. We'll see you.